Welcome to another back to school edition of It Takes a Viking, the official podcast of the Salem State University Alumni Association and Foundation. My name is Mike Mitchell, Director of Engagement in the Office of Advancement here at Salem State. Today, we are pleased to welcome the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences here at Salem State, Dr. Brian Vanden Heuvel. Dr. Vanden Heuvel, how are you?
Thank you so much for allowing me to join you today.
Great to have you with us. We are going to get right into some questions to let our community and friends know
Fantastic.
you a little bit more. The first question I always like to ask, what is your story? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you wanted to be the dean here at Salem.
This is it's a longer story. So I grew up in Colorado, and growing up in Colorado, my parents were non-traditional. They worked actually in alternative medicine. And so as I was growing up, I started to enjoy working with plants. I'm a botanist, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but I liked plants. So my folks then had me working with a bunch of herbalists up in Boulder, Colorado. They did not want me to go to college, and so I rebelled against my parents by going to college to pursue a degree in botany. I ended up at Colorado State University, Pueblo, but there's an interesting story there. I was dead set on going to Northern Arizona University and learning on how to be a smoke jumper, how to jump out of airplanes and fight fires. That was what I wanted to do when I was 18. I didn't do that, thankfully, I think. I went to Fort Collins, and the reason I didn't go to Northern Arizona is my folks didn't have enough money to do that. Plus, they were not extremely supportive of my decision. They wanted me to be an herbalist in Boulder. So I went then to the school that I could afford in state and pursued my degree in botany. Went to graduate school, ended up back in Colorado as an assistant professor of biology at a Hispanic serving institution called Colorado State University, Pueblo. Rose to the ranks, became chair, and really enjoyed administrative work, solving problems. And so one of the big problems I noticed in Colorado with Hispanic students was access and affordability. I wrote some fairly large federal grants. That work was extremely successful. We increased our retention rate, increased our graduation rates, and I ended up in the provost's office as a vice provost, for lack of a better word. My family moved here to Massachusetts in 2021, and when this position at Salem State opened up as Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, as an emerging Hispanic serving institution at the time, I was extremely drawn to coming back to a state institution and coming back to a Hispanic serving institution. So that's kind of my story and how I arrived here at Salem State.
And we'll get into kind of a question about equitable access, inclusion, things like that in just a little bit. But before we go down the road, let's have a little fun too as a trained botanist. New school year upon us.
Yep.
Think back to your time, either undergraduate, graduate, doctoral level coursework. Did you have a course that you took that really stuck with you throughout all these years that you look back on?
Yeah, and I'm going to geek out a little bit here. There's probably not too many people in the audience who are botanists, but I like plants. And part of why I like plants is that I wanted to, even with that herbalist training, walking in the woods, walking past plants, I wanted to know their names. And so I gained skills in identifying plants. Now you can pick out your phone, you can take a picture, and it tells you exactly what it is. Back in the day, we didn't have that type of technology. And so that was my skill set. I was very, very good at it. It was my very first paid job, was how to identify plants for the Park Service. I took a class then that was on theory of why we name plants, how we name plants, why we name plants, and how we make those decisions. And it clicked for me. That was the day that I decided to go to graduate school. And that particular professor, her name was June Wen. She became my advisor in undergraduate space. She was the one who wrote me my first letter of recommendation to graduate school. I ended up working with her old boss in graduate school. And so I remember that day, the day that I learned why we name plants the way we do and how we make those decisions. And that's what stuck with me.
So coming now to your time here in the Dean Suite, and it's funny that, even all those years ago, you've remembered that class and those individuals that helped you along the way. Looking in your role now in the Dean Suite, understanding that for all intents and purposes, many of the other schools and colleges here at Salem State are individual subjects, education, business,
Right.
etc. Health and Human Services has a few academic programs, but the College of Arts and Sciences is easily the largest college that we have. So talk a little bit about your role day to day in the Dean's Suite, how you juggle the needs of students, your faculty, your administrators in the department, and what what do you see as the vision for the college under your leadership?
It's great. It's a difficult question to answer. I think my day to day is solving problems, which is something I really enjoy. It's putting out fires. But what I've noticed in the work is that, for example, yesterday was a great example. We had a student who had a transportation issue. I spent a couple hours trying to solve that transportation issue for the student. What it illuminates for me is a hole that we have to fill for access problems for some of our students. This then plugs directly into our strategic plan, right, for who we are as Salem State, what we want to do for our students at Salem State. So I think that even though I have a little individual problem for one student in one class, it illuminates a larger commitment that we have to our students and a larger reinforcement of our strategic plan. Our strategic plan for the college dovetails identical into the institution's strategic plan because, as you mentioned, we are so large and so diverse, 20 departments, 195 full-time faculty. So how do I balance it? I think that those small moments then reinforce my commitment and reinforce what I'm going to talk with the chairs about for how we're going to move forward. Issues we need to solve immediately or midterm or long term that we need to think about. So it's really a balance between identification of a small moment, a small problem, and what that means as we try to build structures that ensure that that doesn't happen anymore, but also feeds into what it means to be a school that worries about serving students like we do.
And you've walked nicely into the next question that I want to ask you is that as you've mentioned access, equitable access to education, removing barriers, things like that. Perhaps the transportation issue that you experienced, not a unique one, but what are some of the other hurdles that you're seeing students up against right now, and how are we helping serve them, and what's working?
Right. I think that there's a narrative that students are very different now, and it may be true and it may not be true. I mean, we could look back and say that Salem State's always served the community and the community of the students who live here and want to come to school here. Right now, what I see when I walk across the halls of Meyer Hall and Sullivan Hall is engagement. How do we ensure that our students are engaged with the material? Part of that engagement concern comes from potentially their experience through COVID, but maybe not. Part of that engagement might be due to technology, but maybe not. And we know the high schools that our students are coming from, what their challenges are. And so how are we going to work through those things? So my concern about our student body right now has a lot to do with ensuring that our curriculum, our faculty are engaging our students in the way that's appropriate for them right now, and providing the options that they need to succeed.
And I'm going to go off book for just a minute, but obviously we find ourselves in the middle of a massive groundbreaking and construction as part of SSU Bold and the future of the institution. So talk a little bit about maybe some of the steps that you've had to take and work with as dean to help mitigate any issues that may be coming up from a teaching perspective with obviously the groundbreaking in the old library location, but also kind of just how that might impact what's happening here in the building.
For those who aren't in Meyer every day, so we have 2 blasts, sometimes 3 a day. They're drilling 15 feet down, 16 holes. Quick story, I was so excited about the groundbreaking. I ran down for our first explosion, and they told me I can't do that anymore. So I put my phone in the window to videotape explosions every day so I can watch them. I share them with John Keenan, the president. He shares them back. So we have a little thing going. But we have a couple of explosions a day. They're almost finished with that part of it. Now comes a lot of earth moving, potentially jackhammering to remove individual stone so that they can begin to pour the first foundation. On a day-to-day, as school has started, what it means is noise. Meyer Hall's had noise in the past. We had a new library constructed 10 years ago that was noisy. What's different now, or what is different at this time of the year, is given it's start of fall, we'd like to open our windows for our courses and for our classrooms to get airflow and to cool the rooms down. We don't have the best HVAC in Meyer, but that is an impossible thing. So we close them and turn on our air conditioning units, which are noisy. And then my faculty are speaking over the AC unit and the ambient construction noise. So that's been our challenge right now. We are going to be moving one of our departments to the first floor of the library due to construction. Their office suite will be destroyed in order to create a hallway into the new wing of Bold. We have a few other locations that have been, for lack of a better word, condemned during construction, so we've had to move some folks around. We feel like we've got a pretty good plan. The complaints right now, and there's not that many, have a lot to do with noise, and so we have some solutions set up for amplifying faculty's voices, noise canceling earphones for admins who are working in our spaces, or in most extreme cases, relocation.
Bold seeks to solve several challenges that Salem State has faced over the last many decades. Let's talk about the biology program, for example. We heard from recent grads over the years that the equipment that they were using was some of the equipment from many, many years ago.
Right.
So it's an exciting time as the facilities are updated and upgraded. And I think the thing that I like about it most, candidly, is that it closes off Meyer Hall. It makes it an entire loop, so you can get all the way around. But as you think about our campus, the Meyer Hall addition, but also the higher ed landscape in general, looking out, you mentioned the library 10 years ago. As you look to the next 10 years, what do you think things at Salem State look like? What do you think the landscape looks like for higher ed in general?
It's a great question. It's hard to know. I think that in 10 years' time, we'll probably see our curriculum, our courses far more customizable for students, that we'll see students coming in, and they already are coming in at different levels, need different things. And so potentially we'll see more just-in-time instruction, customizable, personalized courses. AI is a thing that we're working with right now, and AI is threatening to higher education. A lot of the skills, knowledge, abilities that we hold dear, especially in the liberal arts, those tasks can be done with the help of AI much quicker than they used to be, and without a lot of involvement of the human. So as we face that challenge, it's the College of Arts and Sciences then, or this moment for humanities and the liberal arts, is about what does it mean to be human again? And how does our curriculum interact with humans and communities? It could be, and I think it will be at Salem State, a really powerful moment for us to rethink how we offer the liberal arts, what we concentrate on the liberal arts, and I think the skill set, I think the humanities writ large will become the types of skills that are most valued in this new age. Once again, what does it mean to be human? Critical thinking, inquiry, checking the outputs of AI. And so that's what I believe in the horizon for 10 years, is kind of this idea when we come into a classroom, what are our expectations as a student, and how do we handle a very varied audience who has different needs, but also what does it mean when we educate in a face of new kinds of skills that might be required in their workplace.
I think that the hat that you wear, having to balance the arts and the sciences, is certainly a unique one, and I always go back to the old Jurassic Park metaphor, and that the sciences can tell us how or why we can create the dinosaurs, and the arts and humanities tell us why that's probably not the best idea.
Right, should we? Right.
So certainly a lot happening here in the College of Arts and Sciences. If you were talking with a student or a prospective student who may be interested coming to Salem State, starting their collegiate experience for the first time, what do you think a piece of advice would be that you would give them?
I think it would be true to what they want to do. I would like for them to engage with Salem State because it's something that they want to do. and that they're pursuing a goal that they hold dear to them. I don't want them operating under my expectations, a family member's expectations. I want them to engage in this wholeheartedly because they believe in what they're doing and want to do at Salem State. I think that would be my number one message.
Easy enough. Come here because it's important to you and you pursue something that matters to you. Dr. Brian Vanden Heuvel, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences here at Salem State, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mike. Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody, for watching along. This has been another episode of It Takes a Viking, special back-to-school edition. Dr. Brian Vanden Heuvel, the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences here at Salem State. My name is Mike Mitchell, Director of Engagement in the Office of Advancement. Until next time, thanks for watching.